want to talk about a time that was really probably one of the greatest moments in my history. And I'm going to tell you, it didn't happen in the U.S. It happened in Canada. Okay, Montreal. 1987, I think, was the year. My first win. I had always dreamed one day Steve Evans would be there from Diamond P. He would interview me. We didn't even have TV cameras, couldn't get him into Canada. You're seeing the video on this screen because a fan 20 years later sent it to me and said, here's the video that he took at the racetrack. But let me tell you a little bit about it. When you've been a drag racer and you never got an opportunity to win, you live for that every moment of your life. You know it's going to come. They called me the perennial bridesmaid. This guy gets to the altar and he can never get married. He just keeps losing. I would get there to win and I would lose. But not on this given day. But let's back up a few days earlier. I rolled in. I had to do a display for a group that I'd worked with for years with Wendy's hamburgers. We stopped by to get something to eat. We were going to do a little bit of a display out there, even though I was driving a car for another company at that time. There I was, and the girl that showed up to be Wendy's didn't show up. They asked me, I said, what's it pay? They said, I think it was like $75. I thought, wow, that'll feed my team for a few days. And remember, that was in the early days when I started with Austin Coyle. So there I was. I put on her dress, I put on the red wig, and I went out and stood in the street. And I made that money, and that was like on a Wednesday before the race. I don't know if that was good luck or what. They were happy. We all got free hamburgers, made a check to help make payroll, and off to the races. Let's go straight past the qualifying. Let's go straight to the race. Let's go to the final round. There I was in the final round, probably just believing I was going to get beat again. Keeps happening, and Austin Coyle said, you know, you do good first round, second round, third round, but when you get to a final, you just seem to choke, or we choke together. And he said, why don't you go out there and have fun? Drive your car, forget that it's Ed the Ace McCulloch over there in the other lane. I think it was a Miller beer car, and I love drinking Miller beer. But in the middle of this, he said, have fun. I remember on the burnout, I put the car in reverse and I looked over in the stands. The women in Canada were beautiful. Everybody was in bikinis. The rough part was all the men were in those little bikini brief, thongs looking things that they wore. And but they were drinking beer and having fun. And in the middle of that, I remember I forgot I was racing. I backed up and I was just caught into that moment that Austin Coyle, always a guy there to get my mind right and help me at a hard time. And I remember pulling up to stage. For once, I didn't look up at the tree and say, oh, I got to cut a light, or oh God, I may have to pedal this thing, or Ed the Ace McCulloch, we call him the Eight in them days, love him to death. And in the middle of it, the tree came down. I wasn't thinking about nothing. Down the racetrack I go. Got a little bit loose out in the middle, feathered it, got on through there, and I'm standing at the other end, and I won. I won an NHRA national event. And it was like, oh my God, what do you mean I won? I was freaking, my team was freaking, Coyle was yelling. It was my first win ever in my career. And I was in shock, and I was a bridesmaid, no more. But in the middle of all of that, I'm looking for Steve Evans, Diamond P, NHRA, there was nobody. It's like, there was 3 drunken Canadians standing down there looking at me like, who are you? And I go, I don't know, but I just won this event. And it was a highlight, I'm going to tell you, at that moment of my life, and I had a lot more great things happen after that, but at that moment, I was finally an NHRA drag racer, and I had won a national event in Montreal. No TV, no nothing. Just me and those 3 Canadians and my crew. That night we went to dinner. Coyle knew we had no money. He was going to feed us. We went out to dinner, and Shirley Muldowney sitting across the table, a couple rows over, sent over a bottle of champagne. And it was like, I never drank champagne, and I can't believe the great Shirley Muldowney sent this to me and to the team. And we drank it, and it was a moment in your life that you couldn't sleep all night long. Probably one of the greatest moments, because it was my first ever win. It made me a champion. It made me an NHRA guy that I wasn't, and many more. I was always like Don Perdome, Mongoose, Ed McCulloch, Bernstein, and I was many more. You know what I mean? And finally I was part of it. That was a great moment in my life, but that was a start of a career that's going to be hard for anybody to match. And they will, but in that moment, that period of time, you know, I was the king. I wasn't Artlist, but I felt like him. I wasn't Perdome, but I felt like him. But I'd done something that I thought maybe would never come. And from there on out, from there on, the winning started, and I never looked back.
Ten times he had been to the final round without a win, but this time it was different.
The frustration is over for the man who drives this car. And John, I've got to ask you, how does it feel to arrive here a champion?
Steve, you've been here with me so many times. We've done this before, and the only difference is now it's changed. You take 12 years of your life, the first half with Don Perdome taking it away. You come back with Kenny Bernstein taking it away, and one day you can finally call home to your 5-year-old daughter and say, yeah, we won it this time. We took it all. It makes my hair stand up. It's something we have earned. My crew chief, Austin Coyle, we worked hard for it. We won it. The sponsors paid for it. We got there, and the fans got it. And I thank God it's finally over.